Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alphanim. So I'm starting to calculate certain things into how I believe people will be psychologically affected once we enter the next bull run, whenever that happens. We have plenty of time. But before, I was thinking probably about 53 to 58% of the people will probably be selling once XRP makes a run up to close to $4 or so, right? And I believe it will strongly make a run to $4. Of course, you have a little dips here and there between, I think, $2 and $4. You'll see a couple of dips, a couple of corrections, some consolidation as people psychologically, they're trying to see whether it's going to go up, go down. They're not so trusted anymore. Now, what I'm factoring in now is post-traumatic stress syndrome from a lot of new holders of XRP going through this. This is their first massive negative period, correction period, right? They haven't lived through all those other ones. They haven't been in the stock market to have massive losses and live through it, hold through it, you know. So psychologically, there's some trauma starting to accumulate. Now, that I believe drives it for me, drives the percentage up of people that will sell. I think closer to about 63%. I think 63% of the people will probably sell their XRP. Maybe not all of it, but once you're starting to head to that $4 mark, right? $3 to $4 people are selling because they don't want to lose those gains and they have a ton of XRP. Now, those people will be seeing tremendous gains at that point because they have so many XRP coins. So I don't think they will want to risk it and hold further. There are some who believe, but they're not true believers. And I completely respect that. Then I see that I see XRP making a run to $6, some consolidation there before it makes a run to $8. Now, I believe it will blow past all those prices at some point, obviously. Now, this is just the beginning trickles of the flood that I'm talking about here. This has nothing to do with the absolute floods that come from, let's say, B2B, cross-border payments, running across XRP, the commercial banks stepping in, and then the central banks, of course, stepping in. That's two floods and a tsunami. That's how I look at it. Now, I mentioned commercial banks. Let's jump over to that because we don't typically talk about commercial banks outright, just exclusively, right, all the time, but we really, really should. And so I wanted to pull up this document here. This is on Statista.com. So let's begin here with the total assets of banks worldwide, because we want that bank money, don't we? So it would behoove us to know how much money is in those banks, or at least how much total value in assets, rather, they have in these banks, because most of those assets, most of that value is going to be moving across the blockchain. They're probably going to be tokenizing everything. It makes everything so much easier. It's easier to trace it, easier to move that value. It's near instant and secure. So many reasons why I believe that they'll be tokenizing everything. And you see little glimmers of that right now, right? So this is pretty important. So here we're on Statista.com. This is total assets of banks worldwide from 2002 to 2020. And let's just take a look at 2020 alone, right? So in 2020 alone, total assets of banks worldwide is 180 trillion US dollars. 180 trillion. If XRP even takes a modicum of that, XRP, Algorand, Excellent gets even a modicum of that, they will skyrocket from the prices that they are at right now. That's why they're such a solid hold, such a solid investment, in my humble opinion. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, and I'm not trying to convince you of anything. It doesn't matter to me whether you buy or sell, okay? Because I'm waiting on those banks. I like to say that because some people do feel like they're, you know, if they listen to a video, they need to do this or that. Don't feel that way whatsoever. We're just sharing information. So hopefully information in this video will help you. And sometimes people post information in the comment section. They help me. So it's a mutually beneficial thing here. All right, so that's total assets. But here of banks globally. All right. So now let's just go to commercial banks in particular. Right. This is very important information here. So this is on the St. Louis Fed website, stlouisfed.org, okay? And they say total assets, all commercial banks is, let's scroll here, $22,660 billion, 22 trillion. So let's just round that up to 23 trillion, right? It's 22.6, 23 trillion dollars, all commercial banks, total value in assets, right? So imagine all of that money or a modicum of it, either way that you will like it. I believe that it will take some time. We'll start off with a little bit, taking a little bit of that value, moving across the blockchains, which will cause that price to skyrocket to all those lovely prices that everybody likes to talk about. I think what would affect XRP's price even more is if Ripple actually, and this will make a lot of sense, we've seen other systems go online all at once with all their partners all at the same time before, so it's not unheard of. There's a precedent set. I think what it could affect XRP's price and what people should look out for and be careful of is the possibility that XRP does, in a way, flip the switch where they say to their partners behind closed doors, hey, listen, this is the date where we want everything to go online. Everyone starts using the RippleNet all at once, Liquidity Hub all at once. All you bank partners I'm talking about, right? Banks, central banks, such like that. And they have some date set in the future where they want this all to occur. So they don't necessarily need to take all of the value from all of the banks. No, not at all. But if they take even a little bit, a modicum of that value, which is that's a lot of money from those banks, even a modicum of each one, and they say, listen, we're all going to utilize the system on this particular date all at once, and that's how we want to start up the banking use of RippleNet, then that is a lot of money once you look at all of that pulled together, okay? So that there is the possibility of that happening, because in order for RippleNet, a system like RippleNet, to be efficient, you'd have to have multiple banks willing to use it, right? So they can send their XRP to this bank, that bank, it's smooth sailing. They're all linked up to RippleNet. So if you, once again, circling back around, if you look at all that value pulled together, then that price could theoretically skyrocket like no one would expect. And that date would not be known to retail investors like you and I, so we would not be expecting it. This is one of the reasons why I believe a lot of people they're holding their XRP rather than, I understand the plan of selling it now and then buying back in at a lower price if that does occur, and that's definitely possible. We got a lot of catalysts coming up that could definitely push things lower. So, I told people before, prepare for that. But this is one of the reasons why people they sell everything else, but they usually will hold XRP, XLM, Algorand, such like that, because you never know when that date is. And remember, utility price is not dictated by what's going on in the world right now. It's not. When we're talking about banks, they always have money. When you're talking about like central banks like the Fed, they print money. So they can always make money to put into a system if they should see fit, right? Then on top of that, don't look at dollars and euro and rubles and such like that as the pinnacle of what fiat is. No, like true fiat is SDR. So you have central banks like the Fed, ECB, Bank of International Settlements, and IMF, where they utilize special drawing rights, SDRs, as their currency, which is called paper gold, right? Because they made it equivalent to gold. This is why it's called paper gold. So at any time that they want, they can utilize those SDRs, special drawing rights, which was like the prototype to what XRP is today, right? So it's the archetype of what XRP is today. Literally started out almost the same way. But they can always pull on those as well for any type of funding that they need. That's why it's called special drawing rights. So they always have money. They can print some, they have SDRs. And so utility price, what I'm saying, is not dictated by what's happening in the world today. They're not affected like we are, like retail people, regular citizens of the world. Banks are not affected like the regular citizens of the world. Now, I'm not talking about commercial banks, because commercial banks are sort of in the real world, so to speak. They're not too deeply ingrained within that system. Now, they can bail out commercial banks, sure, but it ain't a system in that way. But commercial banks don't get that special treatment that the central banks have with each other. And even some governments, so like I believe some governments are able to access SDRs from time to time, things like that. But commercial banks don't have that, right? So, but looking at all of that, if Ripple decided that they wanted to take that route and have everything go off at the same time, that price of XRP would skyrocket like you wouldn't believe. Keep in mind, and I messed up last time. I misspeak sometimes. You got to forgive me. I misspeak. I make mistakes all the time. People correct me. I appreciate that. Sometimes I correct myself. But I said it was a 10 XRP requirement for a wallet. that was a mistake. I mean, I meant an account, right? So you have to keep your account open. You have to have 10 XRP. It used to be 20 XRP. So just imagine that price skyrocketing, right? You have all these trillions of dollars. Remember, we're talking about a portion, even a portion of $23 trillion total value of the commercial banks, right? So then all the global banks, a portion of, if we take a portion of $180 trillion total assets, total value and assets of the banks worldwide, 2020. Of course, I believe that's a little bit higher now. They've been printing money. They've been mining more gold. So that probably went up a little bit. So you're taking a portion of trillions when pulled together. That's going to be trillions itself. So you're talking about a company or in Ripple and a product in XRP or XLM also is in there. Algorand's in there. Cello, Hedera. These things are very, very important. Where they're taking a portion of trillions, and if all that's pulled together in them, and now let's go back to XRP specifically, if all that is pulled into XRP, which we know XRP is the liquidity, XRP is what they're going to use to pull all the money together, what does it do to that price? That's what I'm getting to. What does it do to that price? We're talking trillions. This whole video, we're talking trillions of dollars. Even if you take a little portion of that, if you're going to be a major player, you're going to move trillions of dollars. At some point, I don't care if it's every 3 months, 6 months, you start out somewhere, you continue to build, you continue to grow. Think about that for a moment. And here you are, you're holding that asset. You're holding that. That's mind blowing that we even have that particular opportunity to get in on what is the new banking system, a new layer to the banking system. And I have so many documents here where they're talking about the layering and congealing of blockchain with the central banks, with the commercial banks. And it's, when you look at a company like Ripple and you say to yourself, they have over 500 financial institutions lined up, and you say, well, look at the price. You obviously, they're all holding back. Not one of those major financial institutions, not one major, I'm talking about major. They've thrown breadcrumbs out there, which were some of these minor announcements that they're making, which are significant because it shows us that they're still working hard. They're moving forward. That's great. They've shown us some of the corridors. Those are great as well. Lots of money going to move through those corridors. However, the major banks have not begun to use the system all together, all in unison, even though they're signed up. Think about that for a minute. So if they're all in unison right now, none of them touching it. None of them is using it. And yet you have to have multiple points of receipt and sending in order for the system to work. That means that theoretically they possibly could have all of them start using it at the same time, which would make sense as to why that Ripple document that they put out, this was maybe about 2 months ago, they put out a Ripple document. And in that document we read on this channel, it said, Ripple said itself, we have about another 4 years before everything is up and running. I'm paraphrasing, but that's pretty much what they said. 4 years. So that's, let's see, that was a couple months ago. So we're looking at 2026, right? 4 years from now. Okay. Maybe, just maybe they're working on that timeline as to where they have everything set up. They have all the right partners lined up in a particular way. I'm pretty sure it has to be that way for everything to work seamlessly, right? And then also they have to work on the numbers of who's going to allocate what into the liquidity pool, who puts in this much, who puts in that much, their fair share. That has to all be calculated, right? We're talking about central banks who have SDRs, gold, regular fiat currencies. Then you have the commercial banks dealing with the fiat currencies outright. Who knows to what degree some of them or are actually being successful or bringing in revenue that they even have to allocate. So they're going to have to make those calculations about what's each bank's fair share to put in. So even that takes time. That takes time, right? So, but given all of this is happening now, they've given themselves, by saying 4 years, they've given themselves enough time to get through all of these issues, have everything set up. But why? Maybe theoretically, they're not joking around when they say, hey, we might flip the switch. Just have everything go off all at one time because it's necessary. That is definitely a possibility, right? So, I mean, listen, does PlayStation send one PS5 out? No, they ship a whole bunch all at the same time. They have to have people on the PlayStation network, so they're not just going to send one out. I mean, you may have, like, even if when there's beta testers in any technology, you send everything out at one time. You have everybody get on, not like all at once, but around the same time period. It doesn't have to be completely in one instant moment. But around that same time period, boom, 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 you have banks going online using RippleNet. Think about that for a minute. And if that were to happen, that price would skyrocket. We wouldn't be talking about $4 and $8. There's no way. No. You heard some of the other people talking about prices like $24 and $34. We wouldn't be talking about $24 and $30 if all the banks were to just start coming online. You put a product out there, RippleNet Liquidity Hub. When it comes to the commercial banks, when it comes to large business institutions and lots of money, you have to have your system ready for everyone to use at the same time. Look at any of the technological infrastructures out there. I don't care where it comes from, Microsoft, IBM. Look at that. Look how they distribute it to everyone. Like all the I'm not the retail, but I mean like all the businesses all at once. They make it available at least for anybody that wants to use it. That's a business, may have a partnership contract, whatever. They send those all out almost at the same time. So it's not all in one instant, but they're able to get on at the same time. They're able to start up at the same time. Now, what would it do to that price if that were to happen? This is something that I'm calculating in as I'm looking at the money. I'm looking at the progression of the education within those systems. I'm also taking into account infrastructure setup, which they've been doing that for quite some time. They've been speeding it up. They've been making improvements. So I'm looking at all of that. And by my calculations, it tells me that, yes, there's a big chance that that price of XRP could skyrocket. And I don't want to put a cap on it. And I don't want to put a number on it because it's ridiculous because we don't know what the banks are going to put in just yet. But we do know that they're there. So I had so many articles to go over today, but I just started, that line of thinking is so potent. So this is why, another reason why a lot of people, even now, they may have a ton of XRP, but they're still accumulating. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying this is why they're doing it, because people want to ensure that not that they're making couple million, they're not interested in that. Some of these people already have millions. Okay, let's just put that out there. Some people already have millions, so they're not worried about making a few million. They're accumulating these coins like XLM, Algorand, XRP, little by little. They never stop. They just keep doing it because they want to reach, and I'm going to say this in all sincerity, they want to reach generational wealth. There's a big difference. We went over this on the channel months ago. There's a big difference between being rich and being wealthy. Huge difference. Plenty of rich people are broke again. These people want to accumulate. They're accumulating as much XRP as they can because they want to ensure that generation after generation, their grandkids, great-grandkids, great-great-grandkids, that they take the opportunity. Of course, there's no guarantees in any of this, but they see the opportunity and they're trying to take that opportunity so that not only are they set up well, like I said, a lot of people already doing very, very good. Even if you're not a millionaire, people out there are doing pretty good. As far as what they're bringing in, what they brought in past years, saving money, they've done a good job. Even with the world in a really, really bad condition, the world economy is in a bad condition. People prepare for this. They prepare for it pretty good. So that's not an issue, right? For a lot of people. Some people that's not the case. I understand that, but I'm just talking about these specific group of people. So, but anyway, that's why they're accumulating, because it's not about them anymore, just specifically. Don't get me wrong, they're going to benefit greatly, but it's about what is to come, what they're leaving behind, the people that they love, things like that. This is why I say this so much, because it's true. So, I mean, sure, some people may feel, everyone is different. Some people may feel they have enough. Some people may feel that they don't have enough. I think everybody knows what's best for them, right? So, I mean, what do you guys, what does everyone think out there? Do you feel like, given what we've been seeing, the holding off of all the banks utilizing RippleNet, even though they've signed up for RippleNet, and all of these other factors, do you feel like that lends a little bit of truth towards the possibility of RippleNet in 3 to 4 years going off all at one time? All the banks come online all at one time. Something I'm considering. I don't know if this is going to happen exactly that way, but it's something I'm considering. Cause and effect. So if we gather together all of these different possibilities, we can start to whittle down which one is the most probable over time. We'll be given more information. We'll see more partnerships done. We'll be able to observe more. And that will aid us in whittling down all the possibilities that we have gathered together that we think are feasible. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.